You're watching It's Life Live with your hosts, Juan Lee and Oliver Marcel. Come join us for enriching, enlightening, encouraging, and thought-provoking conversation. Let's go. What's up, everybody?
What's happening, Oliver?
Man, it's another Wednesday. It's another It's Life Live. Got a great guest. Hey, it's all good.
Yeah. Welcome, everybody. I told you we stole a little bit of a Carolina Kitchen. Welcome again. Welcome. To It's Life Live, sponsored by Clear Journey, a nonprofit that supports individuals looking for life's answers, looking for answers to life's challenges. Clear Journey is a nonprofit. We educate and we provide resources so that you can navigate life more successfully and you can reach your full potential. And tonight is no different. We have a guest, and this guest has been on our show previously. We had a webinar in April in finances. And so that this guest is a reoccurring guest that we have. But before we get to her, let's welcome anyone who's here for the first time. That if you are here, if you would subscribe to our channel, we would really appreciate it. If you're returning, we just want to thank you for coming back again. Hopefully that you will learn something or hear something that can help you on your journey in life, because that's what we're here to do, to help you navigate life more successfully in all areas of life. And what we want to do is be your one-stop shop for answers to life's challenges. So we thank you for being here. We appreciate you, and come back. Bring other people with you. Bring family, bring friends. We're here for everybody. So Oliver, this has been a quick Wednesday, right? We're here again, and
the days
every
are
week.
flying by.
Yeah, it's has the summer hit yet? Summer's in the middle of June, right?
Yeah, it's
Or
not
late June.
officially summer yet in terms
But
of the
it's
calendar.
85 degrees outside.
But it was, and today was very humid. So it was a typical summer day today.
Yeah, it felt
And,
like it anyway.
and some heavy rains, so it's all.
Yeah, we got
all good.
another one possibly coming through still.
Yep.
So it's Life Live is about really everything that Clear Journey is about. It's about, let's talk about every stage and phase of life. I'm an author, by the way. I'm the founder of Clear Journey, but I'm an author of a book called Love Made Simple. It's the guide to inner peace, contentment, and success. And basically, it lays the foundation for a Clear Journey. It's where we gain the mindset to navigate the 8 areas of life that we have at Clear Journey that we cover. And so we really want you to really understand that it's the mindset that we're talking about as we navigate this thing called life. And what we do is that we allow that to help us in every stage of life. And so tonight it's going to be interesting because we're going to be talking to a representative of AARP. And most people seem to think that that's for the elderly old people, but not necessarily. The information it's for everybody. Doesn't matter how old you are. It's just that somebody has to be the sponsor of that information, and AARP is the one who's sponsoring that information. So be open to understand and hear what our guest is talking about, and not just looking at the fact that she's coming from AARP. In spite of the fact that I got gray in my beard, don't mean that I'm necessary. But I've been in AARP for about 10 years now, so I don't care.
Yeah, don't check it. Don't, if you're not 50 plus, don't check out, because this information, I guarantee you, is pertinent to everyone. Everyone can benefit from what you will hear tonight. So listen. You don't got to look like us. You don't have to have the silver or the the salt and pepper. You want this information. Trust me. So
And we sorry you don't have the gray or the salt and pepper, but everybody gonna get it if they hang around here
yeah,
long
yeah.
enough. Okay.
Just keep living, keep
Yeah,
learning.
it's about this. It's life live. That means continuation. That's what this is all about. So she was with us in our webinar in April, and the webinar was about protecting your finances,
Hmm.
and, and that's something that it didn't matter what age you were. If you've worked to build a financial foundation or your resources, you want to be able to protect them. And gave us a tremendous amount of information and tips and resources as to how you do that in light of this culture that we're on right now, this online culture. And so we're bringing her back because they have a program that is coming up, and she is here to tell us all about it and then some. So without further ado, I'm going to introduce to some and reintroduce to others Karen Morgan. Come on out.
Karen Morgan. And while we're bringing up Karen, listen, if you are watching right now, shout yourself out in the comments. Let us know that you're watching. Let us know where you're watching from. If you are watching the replay, put replay in the comments. Let us know where you're watching from. Feel free to engage in the comments. This is interactive. We want to hear from you. We want to see those comments pop up on the screen. So get to typing, folks.
Hello.
Welcome.
I'm
Hey,
so happy to be here.
hey, Karen.
Hey. It's like
Look,
old home week for me.
hey, I forgot to hit the live stream on Instagram. So you're gonna be at a delay in Instagram and when you come up. If you see it on Instagram, it's gonna be running a little bit in delay. But
No worries.
we're here. So
Absolutely.
Karen, how have you been?
I've been doing great, been very busy with our preparations for our upcoming Protect Week campaign. And just running around doing that. And I want to circle back to something you said about how AARP has benefits for people regardless of age. I usually tell people no one leaves this world younger than when they came in. So if you're lucky, and it requires some luck and fortune, you're going to get older. And
Mhm.
if you're lucky, you're going to get to the point where you're going to qualify from an age standpoint for the benefits of AARP. And even if you're not there yet, you know somebody, you have somebody in your family. There's a friend, there's a neighbor, there's an aunt, an uncle, a parent, somebody is at that age in our target audience.
Yeah, you want to hope so
And you
anyway.
will be. Mm-hmm. Yep, exactly.
Yeah.
So
Well, I mean, but that's the whole thing. I mean, that was the thing that I really understood when you were sharing with us at the webinar. I mean, this information is information that is not based on age. I mean, it's unfortunate in the sense that a lot of people prey on this age demographics of 50 and
mhm,
above, so to speak. But there are people out there preying on us just because we're just not informed. And
mhm.
this is information that no matter where you are on this journey called life, and I emphasize I talk about it in the book as the different stages of life, but information is useful at any stage of life.
Yeah. And this is
Exactly. You can help yourself or you can help other people
Others,
around you.
right.
absolutely.
Right.
So let's now talk about then the new thing or the thing that's coming up that's going to be helpful to everybody, and it's something that you've been working on for some time. So tell us, where and what. First of all, for people who don't know you, introduce yourself. Tell people who you are, where you come from, and why you've decided to work this particular aspect of area in life, so to speak, or this emphasis that you've put on security and
Financial
awareness and things like that.
security. Well, yes. Who am I? That's, and I'm sure there's somebody out there from the NSA who knows more about me than I am a full-time volunteer with AARP-Maryland. I've been doing that for 4 years. Before that, I was an attorney with the Maryland legislature, and I worked on legislation. I staffed statutory committees and worked in different areas. One of times in 2007, there was the Maryland Task Force to study identity. Was one of the staff people who helped that task force come up with their recommendations, and I drafted some of the legislation. So I've had an interest in computer security and identity theft really going back more than 20 years, like more than 25 years. Ever since, I'm a little weird, but I saw a Lifetime movie. I saw a movie on Lifetime. It was called The Michelle Brown Story, based on a true story whose identity was stolen. The movie was made in 1999. And when she was going, a person at a mortgage office stole her information. But this person went opened up accounts in her name and got arrested in her name and all kinds of horrible things. And poor Michelle Brown nobody believed her, because in 1999, no one had heard of identity theft, or around the 90s was probably before the end of the 1990s. But no one knew what she was talking about. And people just kept saying, well, this guy has to be your imagination, or, there's something wrong with you, or you would end up being arrested because this person had her driver's license and all sorts of things. The woman ended up testifying in identity theft. And she was one of the pioneers that opened up the country's eyes to what and how we need more guardrails against it. That was back in the 1990s. And I never forgot that movie. And so when the task force was created in 2006, 2007, and I was asked if I wanted to help staff it, I said, absolutely. I'm interested, very interested. So that kind of started me on this. And I've worked on economic crime issues. I've worked on a number of different things. And I've worked with different law enforcement task forces throughout my career on computer security and identity theft. So that's why I care so much about this issue, and why I just, working with AARP on Protect Week, when I was asked about that, I'm like, absolutely. Because for me, it's like there but for the grace of God or whatever supreme beings you happen to believe in, go I. Fraud can happen to anyone at any time. So we all need to band together to make sure to try to prevent it from happening. And we also need to band together to figure out what we can do in the event it does happen.
Yeah. Yeah, I think this is education for all of us in this age of internet. It's the age of the internet, and we really can't get too much information. It's so very interesting because of the webinar. I had just reopened another one of my accounts, and it asked me, did I want the secondary, the second authority? How you get the second. What would they call it?
Two-factor.
The two-factor authentication.
Mm-hmm.
And I subconsciously checked no. And I went back, and as soon as that I checked no, and the reason being is because, okay, truth be told, I mean, I have people who do things for me. And so then if every time somebody does something for me, they sending me a message that they're getting into it. And I'm like, but I went back to it, and I was like, okay, it's maybe going to be a little uncomfortable, but I went back and I checked that button again and went back through the process of getting that two-part authenticity what is it?
Two-factor authentication.
Two-factor authentication, whatever the way, I can't keep saying it. but that's what I went back and did, because that's, you really can't be too cautious.
You really can't. You really can't. And two-factor authentication, which is what you're referring to, is based on there's several things that help secure our information. There are three main things: something you are, something you know, something you have. Two-factor uses two of those three items to secure your finances or to secure your personal identifying information. Something you are would be your iris scan or your fingerprint. Something you know would be a password. Something you have might be like a key fob or something else that's physical that you might have to get access to accounts. So usually two-factor authentication will pick two of those three things, and it's usually something you are and something you know. Like to get into a bank account, it might be the fingerprint and the password, or it might be the fingerprint and then something you have might be your phone. So you might get some indicator on your phone that you open up to get access to an account or to something in your sphere.
Okay, yeah. Well, hey, let's start with what it is that's going on here in June, and tell us. I think you said it's going to come up on a June the 12th or something like that.
June 10th, actually a little bit before that, but AARP-Maryland and a number of other nonprofits and government associations, there's like about 15 or 16 groups all together, band together every year to do a campaign called Protect Week. And Protect Week is always in the middle of June. It always coincides with World Elder Abuse Awareness Day. And that particular observance is always on June 15th, every single year, and World Elder Abuse, so it's recognized worldwide. And the idea is that we need to shine a spotlight on the different ways in which those who are elderly can experience abuse. The Protect Week campaign focuses on financial abuse of those who are ages 50 and older. And it began about 7 or 8 years ago. The Comptroller's Office of Maryland was looking for ways to get out more information about elder financial abuse. And a number of the groups sort of said, well, gee, I don't know, maybe we can figure out a way to do this. Maybe we can like publish more information, or maybe there's some webinars where we can put out information on the news in newspapers or something like that. So the comptroller came up with a brochure that was freely distributed, and the other groups sort of banded together. A website was created, and AARP-Maryland was one of those partners that started with this process. And what it's evolved into is sort of like a week, and sometimes more than a week, of freely available information, either webinars or you'll see op-eds in newspapers. You'll see the Protect Week website, and we'll do social media interviews on the AARP-Maryland YouTube and Facebook channels. We will ask experts different things about financial abuse and what can be done to prevent it. So usually what happens during that week is we have a kickoff press conference that will happen June 10th. And a number of people in state government, like the U.S. Attorney for Maryland, Eric Barron, will be a guest. Attorney General Anthony Brown is expected to be there. The Comptroller of Maryland, Brooke Learman, will be there. The Secretary of Aging, Carmel Roquez, will be there. Secretary Rafael Lopez will be there. The Commissioner of Financial Regulation, Tony Salazar, will be a guest. And even I will be making remarks, and it will all be emceed by Sean Perry, who does the Senior Zone it's syndicated on radio.
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
Yeah.
Wow. That's awesome. That's an awesome resource.
And our teletown hall will actually happen before the June 10th. Most of our activities will take place from June 10th to June 17th. We'll also have shred events throughout the state of Maryland. Those are free. You don't have to be a member of AARP. You just sort of sign up and bring your stuff that you want to get rid of and get shredded. And you can bring them to different locations throughout Maryland. Our teletown hall gives people a chance to call in and ask questions of experts. We'll have someone from the FBI, we'll have someone from the Better Business Bureau, and we'll also have the Commissioner of Financial Regulation. They will be our 3 guests during the teletown hall. And that is actually happening tomorrow from 2 to 3 p.m.
Oh, tomorrow, meaning you hearing this live, so that would be Thursday the 6th.
Yes.
Okay. All righty. So how can they tap into that?
Well, from what I understand, AARP issues out a call. People have to actually ask to call in. So they target an audience statewide, and those people who want to participate will call in, and they will be part of they will listen to the call, and then during the call they'll be told how to dial in
to ask questions and things like that. Yeah.
Now, is this something that anybody can dial into, or do you have to be part of a certain demographic, or how does that work?
I'm not sure exactly how this works. I believe what happens is that AARP issues like a call out all over the state, a target population, and then those people are asked if they want to dial in.
Yeah, that's interesting because our executive in PG County, during election time or during areas of like back during the pandemic, every so often they would send, call everybody's phone in the county.
Right.
And they would tell you that there would be this town hall, and that everybody at a certain time that you could call this number and listen to the town hall. Right. So I would assume that this is similar to that. So it's a demographics that they send this robocall, this phone call to, and everybody gets that opportunity. If you want to, listen into it, you can or not. So yeah, I guess so. So I have a question though, Karen. As it relates to Maryland, is this unique in Maryland? You said that this was a universal thing, but as it relates to the way in which Maryland looks at crime or victimization of elderly or people in general, is this something that is exclusive to Maryland, or do you collaborate with DC, or you collaborate with Virginia in when you're with this campaign or at all, or other states in general?
Well, the Protect We campaign is within Maryland. It is unique to Maryland. It includes Maryland agencies and Maryland nonprofits. So because these groups have gotten together and said, we need to do more. Now, other states may have similar campaigns, but we're working with Maryland agencies and Maryland organizations to deal with Protect Week at this particular time of year. But certainly, we can talk about fraud, and we do throughout the year. All over the state about fraud prevention, and other people in our organization do as well. And if there are other sort of publicity opportunities like your webinar or this podcast, then we're ready and willing to be there to help get out the word.
Go ahead, Oliver.
Well, this will take us in a slightly different direction, but it's all related. Just as you were talking about just the resources that are available and the things that we can tap into, what in your experience is, and I don't know if there's one thing, there may be several, but what's a common mistake, if you will, that people make regarding the protection of their digital assets, their financial data, their personal data? What's a common mistake that you see?
Hmm. There are the first mistake I think people make is believing that it's not going to that it can't happen to them.
Mm,
There's a sort of arrogance with regard to that. I'm smart.
mhm,
It's not going to happen to me. I can't be duped. I'm not a sucker. I know what I'm doing.
mhm.
I know how to manage my finances.
Right.
And I guess the first thing, and something I feel very strongly about, is to let people know that fraud, there's a war out there for our personal information. I said that during the webinar. There's a war on. These people, and you use the word people loosely, are just looking for any and every way to enter into our finances, and there's nothing that's completely secure. That would be the second mistake, believing that there's such a thing as perfect security. There is no such thing. There Security and convenience are always at odds with each other, and when you're securing your finances, you have to make decisions about how much convenience you're willing to give up in the interest of more security, or how much security you're willing to give up because convenience is so much more is so much more important to you. Like what Juan was just saying about two-factor authentication, he had to make a decision. I'm going to give up the convenience of having somebody else manage this for me so that I can have two-factor authentication, which means I'm going to be inconvenienced by requests to verify my identity that may not come at a great time, but I'm going to do that because the security of my finances trumps my need to offload this on somebody else. That's the balance. And so when you're looking at two-factor authentication, or when you're looking at biometrics, or when you're looking at, key fobs or your phone or whatever, these are the things that you have to balance. So that's the idea that it can't happen to you. That's a major shortcoming. Fraud is not about an attack on your intelligence. It never was. From the beginning that the confidence games began, when I don't know, when Abel got a hold of Cain or whenever that was, it was never about intelligence. It's about making some sort of emotional connection to you. That's why fraud is so successful. It's not because you're not smart enough. It's because you're human and you're emotional. And if somebody happens to catch you and they convince you to get into a heightened emotional state, and it could be heightened. You could be thrilled because you think you won the lottery. So you're so full of joy, you're not thinking straight. Or it could be that you're worried about your grandchild or your spouse, and you're so scared you can't think straight. But the bottom line is you can't think straight, because when you're in fight or flight, your ability to analyze what's going on goes right out the window. Humans aren't good at multitasking. They never have been. I don't care what people say. They can't multitask. So you're either panicking or you're thinking, but it's pretty freaking hard to do both. So that's where these criminals can become successful. They make some sort of emotional connection to you. You're distracted with 20 other things because you're busy or whatever. And you're like, oh, okay, yes, fine. Well, that's all they need, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You talked about the Lifetime movie that you watched. I watched a movie not too long ago with Jason Statham, and that it was about that. He was avenging. He lived on the property of this older lady, and the older lady was managing this fund that had like $2 million in it. She had her pension. She had some other accounts, and something went wrong with her computer. Right? They
Mm-hmm.
sent the folk that were trying to get her money sent this message. It popped up on her machine. She called the number, and at first, and I'm saying this to speak to what you were saying about the personal connection. At first, she really was on top of it. She was like, "Nah, you know what? I'm just gonna try to figure it out myself. Thank you for your help." Da da da. And then he started working on the personal connection. Hey, listen, I know there's a lot of things that are important to you, and we want to make sure you're safe, and we don't want to leave you out in the dark doing this by yourself. And what happens if you make a mistake? And she's like, you know what? Yeah, if I make a mistake, man, I could lose this and this and this. He started listing stuff, right? So
Mm-hmm.
now they know, oh wow, she's loaded.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, let's keep going.
Yep.
Long story short, they take her for everything. She commits suicide.
Yeah. That happens in the real
Yeah.
world, by the way.
It does. It does. And so Jason Statham, the whole movie is him going on this rampage to avenge her death. But
Wow.
yeah, it happens. And it happens that easily
Mm-hmm.
with them just making this connection, and you're not thinking about it, or you're doing something else, or even if you aren't multitasking, they're so good with the terminology now that it sounds correct.
Yeah, they say the things that they
Yeah.
harp on your deepest fears, or
Mhm.
like with the woman that you're talking about in that movie, or they make, it's like, are you sound a little sad, I just lost my spouse. And
Mhm.
of course they couldn't find a spouse with a
Right.
spouse finder, but there they go.
Right.
And so, oh, gee, yeah, I've been so concerned about my finances. But I don't worry so much anymore because I started investing in this cryptocurrency, and it sounded kind of shady at first,
Mhm.
but then I kept looking into it, and I was surprised so pleasantly at how much my finances
Mhm.
increased, and the interest rates and the returns were amazing. And of course, they're always, they're never bad. They're always
Right.
amazing,
Right.
you know.
Exactly. Yeah, I
Hey,
tell my parents, don't, any phone call you get, just be like, hey, I'm gonna have my son reach out to you. Like, don't
Right.
make any decisions. Don't, you know, it's
that
just, it's crazy out here now.
Yeah.
that
This
was
is not a trusted device.
yeah.
This I own it, I paid for it, but because it knows more about me than I do, it's not trusted. Don't trust the phone.
I have a question, and it's I want to, first of all, I'll get to the question in a second, but I think what you've basically been alluding to is something that we and I talk about, and that's really being able how to navigate this in the mindset, the right mindset to be able to navigate this type of situation. Because basically, we're basically talking about people taking advantage of the way in which we think and our emotions. And do you have any suggestions or ideas? Because Oliver just said something that was very interesting with his parents. He says, tell them without a doubt, regardless as to how emotionally connected they can get to his parents, is that he tells them to tell the people on the phone that my son will contact you. So,
Mhm.
in other words, the way to nullify their ability to be able to get to your emotions in the moment, because I think it's also having to do with the moment and that
Mhm.
ability to not to be able to balance it or to fact check anything because we're going to be caught in the moment.
Mhm.
And so
Mhm.
with using that being the impetus to being able to get you to release them information about you that will allow them to do this, they will typically not call you back if you
Mhm.
tell them that you got to do this, but I need to get some things I need to check. And we should not be afraid to be able to put them on notice to say, I need to find out who you are
Mhm.
and reverse this thing to them, because people will then, how many times have you had been on the phone and when you ask them questions, they hang up on you?
Mhm.
Oh, lots of times.
Yeah, because their intentions are crooked.
Right.
Mhm.
Right.
And
They're horrible.
so
They're horrible.
so the answer is how do we mindset, they're in a war, what can we do to defend ourselves against this war? Because emotions, we all have them, but the ability to be able to control them and manage them in that moment is what we're basically talking about. And the
Mhm.
ability to do that is critical in knowing how to think correctly in that moment. And that is, here's the simple thing: don't do anything on the first call, the first phone
Right.
call.
Release yourself from the need to respond. You do not need these people's good opinion. You do not have to be polite, be rude, be confused. Oh God, I just don't know. Like I turned 150 last week and so many things going. I'm going to have to call you back, or maybe I won't, or I'll have somebody call you back. Did you say your name was Marshmallow Stay Puff Guy? Oh, everything's so confusing. I just don't know. Whatever. You do not need to respond in the moment. And when somebody is attacking something that you feel is critical to your survival or your family's survival, I think it's really hard to step back. But that's your friend. Time is your friend. Delay, delay. Rope-a-dope. I can't do anything. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, it's always the threat that most salesmen hate, and that is that I need to check with my wife or my husband. They hate that response, and that's the thing that really turns them down, because they can't operate in the moment. And that's right. Exactly what we as consumers have to be aware, that that's our defense. Unfortunately, it's a defense mechanism, because now I get an opportunity to let someone else hear this thing, and what they're trying to do is prevent you from getting that opportunity to let somebody else hear about this.
They don't want you to check with anybody. They don't want you to mention it to anybody. They don't want you to say anything. I told a family member who was victimized by fraud, I'm like, okay, if this ever happens again, tell them that you need to speak to your lawyer. The fact that I'm a relative and I happen to be a lawyer, that doesn't matter. You don't have to speak to me. You don't have to do anything. Just tell me you need to talk to your lawyer. Period. Full stop. End of story. And here's the other thing. It's like, we need to step back. The need to verify. We need to improve our verification skills. Verify, because you can't trust what you hear on the phone. You can't trust what you see in Zoom. You can't trust what you think you're reading in email or a text. It has to be verified. And that's why the other thing that I tell people is that this idea that the computer age has made things more efficient, that's a bunch of hockey poo. It has not. It has made things, it actually makes things less efficient, because now you have to spend way more time than any of us are comfortable with trying to verify just basic things. Was that my grandson's voice I heard on the phone? Well, I don't know. It could have been AI. I'm reading this text. Was that really from my friend, or was that some scammer? If I walk into a store, I'm looking for a pair of black pants. I walk into a store, I see a pair of black pants, I pay for it, I walk out the store. Great. If I'm online and I'm going to a store, it's like, okay, is this a real storefront or not? That's a pair of black pants, I think, or are they telling me that just to get me to buy them? And, okay, I bought them. Are they really coming? They said they were being shipped, but I don't know. Who's got time for all that? Well, we need to take the time for all of that. So that is what makes the computer age so frustrating. It's not fast. It's slow. And we have a lot more information coming at us that we need to verify.
Yeah. That what you just said was a part of my next question, is how has the landscapes changed over the years? I mean, you've been doing this for some time now. And how has that landscape changed as it relates to fraud and abuse in this area of how is it being presented? How is people being able to be victimized through fraud in this time versus 20 years ago? I mean, because you just basically laid out, this computer now is as much a flaw, a challenge, than it is benefit.
Well, I'm glad you asked that, because really we're in this situation where it's almost like the more things change, the more they stay the same. Fraud is the confidence game. It's a con game. There's a long con, there's a short con. And if you read history, I mean, fraud's been a part of history for ages and ages. So if you met somebody and they shook your hand and they promised that they were going to pay you back, you needed to decide whether you were going to trust that person or not. The game changer in 2024 versus, say, 1924 is the speed at which we get information and the ability of remote actors to reach us. Those are the game changers. Because in 1924, I wasn't going to be getting a text message saying, asking me if I wanted to sell my house, which I'm getting these days, or, I might get something in the mail. Gee, your grandpappy just, left you $20 million and all you need to do is meet me here and we'll, that's been around for ages. But but 50 years ago, if somebody wanted to find out about, say, your house, how much you paid for it, what the mortgage is, whether, what the interest rate is and all that other stuff, they would have to go to the courthouse, look for your name and, do all this research. Now, all I need to do is get on the computer. There's so much information that's out there that's public. And if I wanted to find out what you paid for your house, I could just go to the Prince George's County land records and I can find out what you paid, how much more is left on the loan, when you bought it. I can find out about your boat. Stuff that you're keeping secret from your friends, the crooks can find out because it's in public databases. And the other thing that is interesting is just, the business of selling data it's a very brisk business. Although I have to tell you that 50 years ago, your friendly motor vehicle administration was in the data brokerage business. They bought and sold data all the time. That's how you got those direct mailing missives, offers from all kinds of companies, because the motor vehicle associations across the country were selling our names, our social security numbers, our driver's license numbers, driver's records, all that stuff. They were selling them to the highest bidder.
Wow.
So that was 50 years ago. So now they're not doing that these days, but other actors are taking their places. So so computers are out there. We're using computers. We need to divulge information to do business, to buy groceries or to do our jobs or whatever. So there are these little bits of information, and data brokers are out there gathering everything that they can. So the speed at which they can do that and the amount of information that they can do that is a big game changer compared to, say, 50 years ago. But the game is the same. It's getting information. And then the fight against that is your propensity to trust needs to be put on the back burner. And you're skeptical, let me wait, let me think, let me check, let me talk to somebody about this before I act. Any or all of those things can help you.
And these are the things that are coming at you to try to do versus things that they're going to do without even coming towards you. Basically, what you're saying is that there are avenues that they can attack you, and you won't even know anything about it.
Right.
So there are a multitude of ways that they are attacking us. And so that being said, are we to feel hopeless here, or is there any solution or any way of being able to feel secure in this war that we're in?
We are not powerless. And I definitely don't want to leave the people who are viewing this or listening with that message. We are not powerless. We have power. We have the power to say no. We have the power to disengage. So many of these missives are, gee, would you respond to my text message? Gee, would you respond to this email? Would you click this link? No. I will not do that. It's going to be pretty hard for me to click a link if I'm not clicking the link. Going to be pretty hard for me to respond to your text message if I'm not responding to your text message. It's going to be pretty hard for you to call me if I don't pick up the phone. Don't pick up the phone. Don't click on links in text messages or in emails, even if you think you know where they're coming from. Even when I was in the workplace, I never liked sending emails to ask people questions. I got up off of my duff and walked to them and asked them the question because I needed the personal response. Humans need personal contact. That's your friend. If you can just talk to somebody you trust. Hey, does this sound right to you? Because even if they're saying something like, we have your grandson who just, mowed down 50 people in a car accident. Oh my God, I can't believe that. That's your initial response. And I would say, in spite of everything that's right and holy, walk that back, because even if that's really what happened, 5 minutes isn't going to make a difference in that situation. But 5 minutes can make a difference if you can say, I'm scared to death right now, but I'm going to check with my son and see where his son is, where my grandson is. Have you talked to him today? Well, yes, I just got off the phone with him and he's in school. He's fine. Oh, okay. Woosah. I can now calm down. But what helped me calm down is that 5 minutes. Like, they want you to act without thinking. They want you to act immediately. And when they say, don't tell anybody, that's a huge red flag. So let's think about the red flags. Links. Would you contact me? Would you get back to me? I'm offering you an investment opportunity from out of the blue. Well, why are you doing that? I'm so concerned about your computer. Why your computer is subject to malware. Let me tell you something. Multi-trillion-dollar corporations do not give a crap about whether your computer is working or not. They never have. Apple doesn't care if your computer works. Neither does Microsoft. Neither does Google. They never have. So if somebody's calling you, telling you that they're so concerned about your computer not working, that's a red flag. People calling you out of the blue, offering you the riches, the world on a string, that's a red flag. That's not how the world works.
Well, do you have more of these red flags? Because I think those are ones that I've heard. I've heard those too myself. I mean, I've had a case in situations occurred that's been what they've come at me at. So are there more red flags that you have that we can share with us?
Well, I mean, certainly, it's something unexpected, something that generates a heightened response for any reason. That's a red flag. If you're in the middle of a communication and you find yourself panicking or freaking out for whatever the reasons, that's a red flag. So you really just want to take the time to calm down enough to try to assess the situation, or to get somebody else to help you assess the situation. And it doesn't take that long to pick up the phone and just say, hey, friend or family member, whoever, does this sound right to you? That happened with me and a family member where they got an offer for a job and we were all excited. And then I started thinking, there's something about this that just doesn't sound right. But my family member wasn't thinking that way because my family member was really excited. And so it was sort of like it took a little while to walk it back, but then we figured out this was not legitimate.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. This really, I think, really solidifies, I guess, what we talk about as it relates to many times we want to think that we've learned something or we've gained something that someone else hasn't learned or gained. And so we keep it to ourselves and are not willing to share. It's like, this is what I heard. I saw this. And sharing it with other people is sometimes good enough to realize that maybe it's not as good as we thought it was. And you have that other opportunity for somebody to hear it. And you can then say, hey, that's a shaky thing right there. But this is basically what you're saying is we've got to start to think a little bit differently as relates to how, and everything that you're talking about is where our society is saying that the computer is our friend. we have to now challenge that. We have to challenge the fact that not necessarily is the computer our friend, because it's not necessarily the hardware, but it's those that are using the hardware to solicit and to persuade you into doing things that are to someone else's best interest. And that's what this hardware has the ability to do. When that wasn't aware, like you said, this is not a new trick pony. It's just they just using different tools.
Right.
Yeah. And I love that. I love that you talked about just kind of stepping back for a second and just, not jumping in, not allowing your emotions to control the situation, because it can now allow you to do some research, because often a lot of these phone calls that we get are from places that don't typically give a phone call to anybody.
Right.
You're like, so if you're getting a phone call and somebody's like, the IRS is after you and we're going to send the cops to your house, the IRS don't call nobody. So don't get all scared and frantic. Oh, the cops are coming. No, they're not. The IRS don't even make phone calls, right? So if you step back long enough to be like, you know what, I'm gonna get back to you. All right, let me see what I can get together, and I'll get back to you.
Let me have my lawyer call you.
Right, exactly. And then go straight to Google and be like, does the IRS call folks? And that happened to me recently. Well, it's been a few months now, but I got a call from my credit union.
Mm-hmm.
And they said that they needed to verify some charges. Somebody was attempting to use the card maliciously. And when I say this person was on point, I mean, she was on point, to so much so that she almost got me. She slipped up. And how she slipped up was somebody in the background came and said something to her. And immediately when I heard that person in the background talking, I was like, nope, that's not my credit union.
Wow.
And if he had not come and said something to her, she'd have got me, because she was that good. She was terminology was correct. Everything was correct. Like, she was on point.
They weaponize our emotions against us. That's why they're so successful. Let me circle back to something else that you brought up in terms of red flags. You cannot be arrested by phone or text message or email. Exactly. And if you think about it, if you're not panicking, you may remember that the police rarely ever give you a heads up that they're coming to arrest you. That's not how they work. They kind of work on the element of surprise.
Right. Hey, Juan, we coming to get you at 12 noon.
Right.
Okay. I ain't gonna be here at 12. I ain't gonna be here at 12 noon when you get here.
Right. I might be here at 1 o'clock. I need to go get some lunch, but I'll come back and find you later. So there's that. And like you said, Oliver, the IRS they don't call you. The Veterans Administration doesn't call you. So if you're a veteran, you're getting a call from somebody saying, hey, I would like to help you apply for benefits. Red flag, scam, hang up. No, the VA doesn't do that. They don't just call you and say, gee, do you need some help today? No, you need to contact them. And here's another way that these criminals, and they are criminals, let's not get it twisted, they're despicable, horrible, crummy, scummy criminals, here's something else that they'll do. They'll weaponize the typical customer service sort of conversation. So they may say something like, hey, I heard about this on a podcast I was listening to where the scammer was like, I don't want you to verify anything because I'm really, we're concerned about your security. So let me just say some things and you just let me know whether I'm correct or not, but don't volunteer the information. That is a red flag. Mm-hmm. Because these people can find out so much public information, and then they can say, hey, here's a credit card bill, and here's this, and here, and you did this, and is that all true? And when you verify that, they have their hooks more into you. So even that, verify nothing, admit nothing. to anybody who calls you out of the blue.
Well, I tell you, look, there's a new attitude in town. That's what I'm talking about. There's a new attitude in town. And I think it's important, it's necessary that we realize that everybody who says hello ain't your friend, you know, and that you need to be, you know, it's good to have that second sense on the back of the hair raising on the back of your neck, and and think it through. Again, this really solidifies and reinforces the fact of the better you are prepared for when those phone calls happen, because again, they want to maneuver, they're trying to manipulate, they're trying to deal with you in a state that they feel that you're not able to immediately navigate successfully with them. They're looking for you to be vulnerable. So the better you are prepared, and I'm shamefully trying to hook something here into a good mindset, having a strong mindset going in, because again, you don't know when somebody's going to be coming to scheme you, to scam you. So you've got to be able to have a degree of awareness about yourself to understand, okay, this is not for me right now. Okay, this is not for me right now. And if anything, I'll loop back around and I'll get to it later. And don't let the moment consume you to the point where it gets you to go somewhere that you really don't need to go.
But let me just say one more thing as we wind down here too. One is that if you are targeted by fraud, if an attack is successful, and it can happen to any of us at any time, please don't be ashamed. It's not your fault. It's the criminal's fault. These criminals are choosing to steal. You didn't lose your funds. They were stolen. And you weren't stupid. They were stupid because they're trying to take money. And that's without authorization, trying to steal money. That's a pretty dumb way to make a living. Why can't you spend this time curing cancer? That's what I would like to ask the scammers. You're so smart. Maybe cure cancer, but you don't need to be stealing my money. So if it happens, don't engage in the blame game. Don't be ashamed. Report the crime. You were victimized by a crime. Report it so that we can help hold these people accountable.
Hey, I'm going to give you the last word, but I have to say something that I was very surprised about that happened. I don't know if anybody of you all use Cash App. Cash App, it wasn't until I sent funds to someone by mistake that I went and I looked at Cash App's policies. Cash App's policy says you're on your own. We're not like the people that are going to monitor who you send money to. If you send it to the wrong person and they don't send it back to you, you short. Too bad, so sad. And that was an eye opener to me to make me go make sure. And they gave me, and I went on Interline. I was like, I went on to YouTube going, what's the best way to do this? And they were talking about, let people send you a bill on the Cash App. Send a request to you. You just don't send them money thinking that you know their number. Make them send you a request so that you can send it to exactly who you know it's supposed to go to, so that you don't send it to the wrong person. Now, having said that, I was really surprised that the person that I sent the money to sent the money back to me. And the reason being is the person that I sent the money to, we parted ways on less than favorable condition. Okay. And I mistakenly sent him some more money. And I was like, oh, I know he's not going to. And I sent him requests to get my money back. I called him. I did all the things. And he wouldn't answer my phone call. I actually had to go to another phone and call him from another number. And he answered the phone because he wasn't answering my phone calls. And he actually answered the phone. And then he after about 5 or 6 days, he literally sent me my money back. And I was shocked. I was shocked that he sent it back. But I was saying, when you were talking about people that were basically scamming you, it's like, is this how he wants to live? By scamming people, like taking money that he didn't earn? But yeah, there are people out there that will try to do that on a regular basis. And this is very interesting because I had another plan if he didn't give me my money back, and I think it would have served him well to give me my money back, because he would have lost a whole lot more money if he hadn't have gotten my money back.
Yeah.
That's just a little sidebar, just a
Uh,
little thing about Cash App.
I,
That
I'm glad he came to his senses.
that no, that being said, Karen, what's the last thing you want to tell us about Protect the Week campaign that's coming up?
Okay, you can go to aarp.org/MD, and you can see all kinds of events that are available from June 10th to 17th, which is Protect Week. And you can see resources from all of our partners, articles, interviews. We have a YouTube and a Facebook channel for AARP Maryland. Our partners have those things too. So you can find out about all sorts of things, get some great information about Protect Week to do that. And you don't need to be a member of AARP Maryland to take advantage of these resources. And we have a fraud watch network that people can attempted fraud or actual fraud too. That's 1-877-908-3360. Trained volunteers man those lines from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. Monday through Friday, and they will help you if you have been targeted with want to report a crime. So yeah, I want to leave
Now,
you
is
with
that line, is
that.
that
And just
line
remember,
just for
it's not your
Maryland
fault.
residents? Is that
No, that's nationwide.
cool? That's great. That is great. Absolutely awesome. That is great, Karen. I tell you, as usual, you were full of information and allowing people to really touch the real essence of what we're having to do, and really being able to give people eye-opening information. So we appreciate you again. I don't know if this is going to be a normal thing that we're going to be doing, a regular annual thing, but hopefully we can continue to be a part of each other. A part of each other, and we can continue to make people be more aware of fraud and abuse in all demographics, and especially in the state of Maryland. Okay, so we
Yeah,
thank
we
you
would
again.
love to do
Appreciate
that. Thank you. And we so appreciate being here. Thank you so much for having AARP Maryland.
Indeed.
So don't go away. We're going to close the show and we'll be back with you. But thank you again for being here. Hey, that's again
Good
another.
info.
Hey, yeah, I mean, this is information that if you don't feel like you're the demographic, share it with somebody who do. Yeah. But
Yeah.
again, it was awesome. I appreciate all of you all that were here. For those that were able to chime in and had any questions, by all means, if you didn't get her information or contact, you can always reach out to me at info@clearjourney.org, and we will get you in touch with her. Oliver, let people know where they can reach you and get in touch with you.
Indeed. First, I want to shout out Damon and Carmen King, Damon Cunningham and Carmen King in the comments. Thank you for being a part of this and lending your participation in the comments. So shout out to you guys. Listen, if you're a social media person, right there on the screen is the social media handle everywhere, Denali LLC. I am an author, speaker, and coach in the relationship building and men's enrichment spaces, author of the book, Overcoming the Man Laws for the Man Who Wants to Be His Best, despite what he was taught. It is my passion, my calling, if you will, to see relationships thrive. And so if you want to build and maintain the relationship of your dreams, both personally and professionally, let's have a conversation. And if you are an email person, by any chance you're an email person and not a social media person, you can email me at the email that's on your screen.
All righty. Oliver is he's one of our strategic partners. So if you want to learn more about Clear Journey, go over to clearjourney.org. We're there with 8 areas of life that we like to support you in with some tips. Also, we have a book there, and the book is the ebook. It's free. You go over to it and we'll send you an ebook. It's called The Guide to Taking Charge of Your Money, Budgeting Made Easy. It's a free ebook. It's about being able to manage your money. We think your money and being able to manage it, it transcends. It goes through every area of your life. It's your goal setting tool. It's the ability for us to be able to navigate life with being able to manage our money. It doesn't, money is necessary, but it's not that we have to have all that everybody else has, the amount everybody else has. The key is being able to manage it, having the ability to be able to manage it. And that's what that book allows you to do, is to put tools in place so that you can have that ability to manage what you have, not worrying about what you don't have. You can also tips in there as it relates to how you can do some little side hustles and things to be able to increase it, but be balanced in the process of doing it. So again, any of those things that my book or the book Love Made Simple, if you purchase that, or feel free to donate to Clear Journey's mission by also going to the website and finding out that you can donate. We are a 501c3, so that it is tax deductible if you do indeed feel the need to want to help us continue this journey. So, Oliver, is there anything else you'd like to say?
No, that's it. I mean, good information. We all have to be more aware as it relates to um, our digital information, our finances, our digital assets, and this is good information in terms of red. I love the red flags segment of this. So if you missed that, go back and check that out. Just some things to be on the lookout for that will help you be more self-aware as it relates to protecting, and share this with someone, right?
Yeah, by all
Because
means.
you don't want to keep all this to yourself, and you're protected and your neighbor is vulnerable. Share this information with someone else.
And that's the same mindset that helps you navigate this also successfully, is saying, "Oh, I'm gonna let my son looking at this. I'm gonna let him see this instead of the moment. Share it," and that can help you navigate it also.
Indeed.
So, as usual, like I said, we can't change life, but we're here to help you navigate it every Wednesday night at 7 o'clock. We appreciate you for coming out this Wednesday night. Look forward to you coming back next Wednesday night, where we will have a new guest and we will be here again helping you on your journey in life. So until next week, we'll see you then.
Later.